because if someone says to me, do I observe it the week before or the week after, I say observe it. You know, so. Funny, my talit smells like the ocean. I've been down, and we daven on the beach every day, the group that I get together with every year, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we davened on the beach. And I don't get that much. So it's really cool. So we left Florida yesterday just as the Super Bowl lunatics were arriving. We were actually watching people get off the plane from somewhere, and they were all drunk as skunks. I mean, and they're just arriving. I mean, the partying hasn't started yet, and they're being poured off the airplane. And I was like, thank God we're leaving. There was nothing about that I was really interested in being part of. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I want to do something tonight that, as we go through the service, some of you know about the Hasidic teaching, which I truly love, and something I've taught for years, that we should try to say 100 blessings every day. And when I first say that to people, the general reaction is, oh, who's got time for that? I mean, those are people who are like, oh, all day long they're davening, and who can do that kind of thing? And understanding it that way is completely backwards from the intent of this idea. The intent of the idea, imagine that I said to you that over the next 24 hours, you had to find 100 wonderful things in the world. What would happen? It would turn the 24 hours into a scavenger hunt. Because it doesn't mean you have to go to the Rockies or go to Florida. It just means that in the course of your life, could you find 100 things that are worth saying thank you for? And I find that even when people do that for 24 hours, just that, it changes the way we look at the world. Because what it means is that we need to be on the lookout at every moment for wonderful things. It's one of the best Jewish teachings I ever heard in my life. And every time I remind myself to do it, and I try to do it all the time, it simply changes the way I look at everything. So as we go through the service tonight, we have the prayers. I'm going to do some that are not in the normal Friday evening service. But I'd like you to think about what the rabbis thought we should be grateful for. And at the same time, I'd like you to think about what you are grateful for. And I know that most of us can come up with 5 or 10 off the top of our heads. And even if we don't list our family separately, and we could do it that way, maybe it'll be more than 10. But if we said family is 1 and friends are 2, I'm certain that instantly we could come up with 5 or 10 for each of us in our lives, regardless of what's going on. It's when you get up into the 50 and 60 range over the course of 24 hours that it changes the way we look at the world, because it means that we're going out and spending each moment going, what's cool? What's good about this? What's neat? And so tonight I'm going to ask you to think about that, even if it means that you're not following along in the prayers, because I want you to get past the easy 10. And I want you to think about what else there is in your life that's worth saying thank you for. So we're going to do that as we go through tonight's service. And by the way, if you're here to say Kaddish, you can probably find things to say thank you for in that too, because something brought you here to say Kaddish for this person. And so even though they've died, there should be at least one thank you in there, maybe 2, maybe 15 or 20, maybe 1,000 for the person that you're thinking of. So it doesn't have to be all simchas. It doesn't all have to be, say, 60th wedding anniversaries, whenever they might be happening. like today, which is really wonderful and is one for you and your family and for me too, because that's awesome. And I love that you're celebrating that. Bert and Phyllis are celebrating their 60th anniversary today. And so that's fantastic, and I love that you're here. So please, as we go through the service, that's what I'd like you to focus on, even more than the words of the prayers, even more than following along with what page, is just to think about what is worth saying thank you for in your life. And I'll give you a hint. When you get up into the 50, 60 range, there are going to be things that we refer to as little blessings. Not everything is a wedding. Not everything is a new job. Some things are really, really small little things. And there's nothing that says that we can't be grateful for them as well. So what I'd like to do, we're going to just welcome Shabbat and then turn to some special blessings. And that's your job for tonight. No one's going to test you on it, but that's your job. Okay? So I want to start with a very simple one, which is in itself a blessing. Don't even worry about the words in the book. The words are Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom, which says two things. It says, what a beautiful day this is, a day of Shabbat Shalom, a day of Shabbat peace. So the two blessings are Shabbat, the obvious one there, and what a beautiful day this is. Now, what makes it a beautiful day? That's for you to figure out. Okay? Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Try that with me. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. As I was coming here, I found blessing in the tiny little street called Mohawk Drive, which, unless you live in one of 3 houses or work for the water company, you never drive down, ever, unless you're coming to TRT. There's nothing else here. It's a street that doesn't lead to anything. You can't cut through. It would be a shortcut. And as I drove onto Mohawk and then made the turn and saw the sign for the temple and the welcome sign, welcome to Temple Rodeph Torah, I thought about how wonderful this community is. Just how wonderful it is to be part of this holy community. So there I already gave you one. I want to ask you to turn to the morning blessings. There's a list that we go through on Shabbat mornings at every Shabbat service we do. And when we do them in the morning, we alternate Hebrew and English. But what I'd like to do today is I want to read them with you and take a minute to think about what it is that the rabbis thought we should say thank you for. Whether you find it a thank you or not, that's your choice, because none of us wrote this book. But sometimes when you just do them by rote, you forget to think about what they mean. So page 198. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. So what can we say thank you for? What does this one suggest we should be thankful for? Yes. For what? I'm sorry, what? For another day. Yes, I am alive, and I can tell that yesterday ended and today has begun, which is what happens at sunset for Jews. That we can tell that one day has turned into another. What else? The ability to see. I like that. Good. What else? I'm not looking for something. I'm just seeing how much we can get from this. The fact that we have a mind. I was just talking with Marge right before the service, and she was telling me about a colleague who is now suffering badly from early onset dementia. And this one is, I can still distinguish one from the other. I still know what's happening around me. And having experienced, I'm sure there isn't a person here who hasn't had the experience of dealing with someone with dementia and realizing that you can be alive and be unaware. And so to me, when I do this, when you've given the mind the ability to distinguish, as long as my mind is able to make this distinction, I'm going to say thank you for it, because it doesn't have to be this way. So let's go on. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of the blind. What are we saying thank you for? Physical, actual vision. Yes? What else? So making us aware, because you can look at things and be blind. You can absolutely look at them. And in fact, what I'm asking you to do this evening is to open your eyes. That's exactly it. So we have the ability to see things right in front of us that we ignore. I would ask all of you, whatever, you don't need to answer it, but whatever route you took to get here, how many things did you notice and appreciate along the way? Probably very few. And yet we can see. What? And so, and yet I'm guessing there are things that we could be grateful for along that. So, no deer, what we don't see. Excellent. Let's go on. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive. What is there to be thankful for? That we are not enslaved. A large portion of the world's population is physically enslaved to a ruler, enslaved to insecurity about food or shelter, living in constant fear. There are so many kinds of slavery. And by the way, there are kinds of slavery that we can be subject to living right here in this free country. Again, you know, the things to me, I'm telling you how I play them out. A dear friend of mine just went into rehab having finally acknowledged that he's an alcoholic. And he is now trying to break free from something which has captured him, which has imprisoned him. And I was talking with him and being a little cheering section. You can do this, you can do this. It is a slavery also. And so addiction and hyper-focus on something can be their own form of slavery. So are we free? And does God help us to break free, which I really like, because if you've ever heard of any of the 12-step programs, they always start with let go and let God. So you free the captive. Let's go on. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who lifts up the fallen. So what kind of fallen do you think of? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that we have the ability to move out of our captivity, that we have the ability to get up, that when we fall down, I believe that God helps us. God does not lift us up. I think that God helps us to get up when we make the effort. So I also think of all the good people who work to help others get up, who do volunteer work, who protest, who write letters, who run for elected office to try to help those who've fallen. There are so many things to be grateful for in that. Please, excuse me? Forgiveness. Yeah. So we get to lift up the fallen when someone comes and says, I messed up. Can you forgive me? Which is not always easy, but that's lifting the fallen too. Thank you. Let's go on to 200. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who stretches the earth over the waters. So what are we saying thank you for? Having dry land to live on, yum, which is good because I don't swim all that well. Good. If you think back to the story of creation, it said that God caused the dry land to appear. It's one of the miracles of creation itself. So in this, we get to think about what it means to live on this gorgeous blue marble floating in space. That when you look at it from space, most of what you see is water. And yet God has given us a place to exist on that. And then you have the beauty of the earth and the beauty of the water. As I said yesterday morning, I was davening on a beach, and it really has something to recommend itself. Let me suggest it to you. Let's go on. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who strengthens our steps. So let's take it physically. What do we say thank you for? That your knee should stop hurting, which amen va-amen, and that part's a different prayer. But on the other hand, as far as I saw, you walked here.
I walked in.
Yeah. So I'm sorry it hurts, but yet you're walking, right? I'll share one that came to me as I was looking out at the water. This month marks a milestone for me that I didn't realize until now. Somewhere in the middle of this month, I will have lived for 2/3 of a century. 66 years and 8 months. 66 years and 2/3 of a year. I will have lived for 2/3 of a century. And on the one hand, I got some aches and pains to show for it. On the other, I'm here. And that's kind of awesome. And I think of all the times that God strengthened my steps. And this isn't about me. I ask you to think about yourselves and the times that you didn't know if you were going to be able to get up again. And yet, here you are. Something to be grateful for. Let's go on. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who clothes the naked. What do we say thank you for? Exactly. So first of all, it's kind of cold out. It's about 40 degrees. I assume you, as I, we got to look in our closets and say, which coat am I going to wear? If you're not saying thank you for that one, try doing this without a coat for a while. And when I think of it, I don't just think about the fact that I have clothing to wear that's proper for the season, but I do think about the hundreds of coats that we collect every year, and hats and gloves and scarves that right now people could say this who couldn't without us. So when I do this one, I say thank you for the Rodeph Torah community, because God alone cannot knit scarves. God alone cannot provide coats. So God creates us and gives us a conscience and a morality and an ethic that says we should be doing this. And the whole month of December, as I watch the boxes fill up with coats over and over again, I think what a blessing it is to be part of a community that understands that. So that's what I think about on this one. It's thank you, God, for helping, and thank you for giving us the chance to help too. Let's go on. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary. So, if you would please, without sharing it with anyone, think of a time when you were weary. And weary can mean a lot of different things. It can mean physically tired. It can mean unsure of how you go on. Think about how you came from that dark place to where you are now, from that difficult place. And that, by the way, doesn't mean that everything's super perfect right now. But think about a time when you were far more weary than you are now. And say thank you. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. As I said, these are generally morning blessings, but no, there's something to be said for this too. I hope you don't have trouble sleeping, but how many times have you awakened in the morning and said thank you for a good night's sleep? It's not hard. Every one of us should have the opportunity to do that one within the next 24 hours. I used to get up in the morning and kvetch. I'm not a morning person. Anyone who knows me, I'm not a morning person. My group in Florida all made fun of the fact that we'd come down and they'd say, good morning, and I'd go, not yet. Talk to me in 2 hours when my heart starts. But we get to wake up. It's not bad. Together on 202. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who made me in the image of God. So what I would like you to think about is someone you love. Don't say out loud who, doesn't matter. If they're in the room, look at them. If they're not, then I want you to picture them. And think about how that person is made in the image of God. Think about seeing the image of God in that person. By the way, it does wonders for relationships. It really does. To look at a family member, a friend, someone from the community, and to see God's image. By the way, see how we're doing way past 10 already? Right? Haven't even gotten to Baruch Hu yet. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me free. Well, we have bar and bat mitzvahs here. Before we get into this service, I always ask people to share blessings in their lives. I have an ulterior motive. I try to get people talking before the service starts so they don't sit at a bar mitzvah like this. They actually understand they're supposed to participate. So if someone doesn't say the blessing of living in the United States, I always add it. Because for all our issues and all the mishigas going on in our country right now, I don't see a lot of us leaving. We've decided this isn't the worst place in the world we could be, and I would assume that many of us here actually have the means to pick up and move to another country if we choose. And yet, here we are. So we've got the mishigas, watch the news, whatever you're going to do, but stop for a minute and think about the blessing of being free. I shared with the people outside a kippah that was created by a yeshiva in Brooklyn during World War II, when we did not know whether we would be free, when the question of freedom was really up in the air. If you don't see it as a blessing, I suggest you look harder. And then, of course, our job becomes, how do we bring others to freedom? There's so many ways to do that. And I thank God for the ability to do those things too. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me a Jew. So for those of you who are Jewish, think about it. For those of you who are part of this community and are not Jewish, think about what it means to be Jewish. And of course it means, as the old joke goes, the waiter who goes up to the table of Jews in the restaurant and says, is anything okay? We kvetch. It's kind of our DNA to kvetch. But you know what? No one is forcing us to be Jewish. In our world, you can stop. You can wash your hands and walk away. No one is forcing us to be part of this community. We can get up and walk away. So I'd ask you to think about what it means to you when you hear the word Jewish and where you find blessings in there. For me, I go way over 100 just on that one. Think about what it means to you. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who girds Israel with strength. And Israel here does not necessarily mean the country. It means the people. We are a stubborn and obstinate and stiff-necked people. I know that because God told Moses that about us. That's how long we've been. You think this is new? It ain't new. And so we're still here, 3,500 years after God spoke to Moses. Takes a little strength to do that. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who crowns Israel with splendor. For me personally, when I think of Jewish splendor, I start immediately with Shabbat table. That's where it starts for me. The splendor of a family sitting around a Shabbat table. Goes right to the top of the list for me. And then on 204, a different kind of blessing. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. And so we've started blessings. Now we turn back to page 121 and 120. And I'd like you to think about the best Shabbat experience you ever had in your life. Wherever it might have been. Whenever it might have been. If you were here on high holidays, you know mine. Because it was what made that teenage boy create Shabbat candlesticks in 7th grade woodshop because of my parents' Shabbat table. This kid who had no thought he was going to be a rabbi loved Shabbat because of the splendor that my parents set on the Shabbat table. And so take a minute and think of yours. Was it at someone's house? Was it your house? Was it at a synagogue? What was the glory of Shabbat to you? On 121. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Just added a couple more thank yous. Page 146. Please rise if you're able.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
148. And again, as we read through this, don't just read the words. See if it helps you add to your list heading toward 100. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv arabim. 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. How many of you have a mezuzah at home? You know why? It says so right here. By the way, this is also what's inside your mezuzah. So think for a moment. If you're like most people, after a while, the mezuzah just becomes part of the background. And that's why Jews have a tradition that when we go out or come in, we stop and we kiss the mezuzah. It's not to kiss a mezuzah. That's a thing. We don't worship things. What it does is it reminds us of what's inside it. So let's read what's inside it. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, Adonai Elohechem Emet. On 156 is our reading, not prayer, but reading of gratitude for every single time that we have emerged from slavery, from oppression, from hardship. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh pele, nora tehilot oseh pele. Malachutecha ra'u vanecha lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Zeli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. 160. This is an echo of one of the earliest prayers that humans ever said. The scariest thing that we encountered in our everyday life was nighttime. Imagine nighttime with no electricity. Imagine nighttime with no candles. Think of how dark darkness is. And then we use the evening to go to sleep, which makes us completely vulnerable. Vulnerable to wild animals, vulnerable to robbers, vulnerable to the elements. Nighttime is really, really scary. So now that I built that up for you, start counting your blessings. Do you have a secure home in which to sleep tonight? I feel like the machine should be going, ka-ching, got one. Does your home protect you from rain and snow? Ka-ching. Are you safe and secure in your home? Can you lock the door? Can you go to sleep in security this evening, not worried about the fact that you're going to go to sleep and be unprotected? Do you live in a safe community? Because we do. Do you live in a country where you have very, very little fear of bombs falling overnight while you sleep? We do. Boy, we are so blessed. Imagine how many of those 100 we just got by thinking about going to sleep together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel. A shelter of peace is spread over us, all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai,
Hapore Sukkot Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, hapore Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
This Chatimah, the last line, thanks God for spreading peace over us, over our people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And I'll share with you a memory that I wrote about many years ago. We were coming home from a congregational trip to Israel. We were flying on El Al, and I can't sleep sitting up, which means that even at the end of a very long day, when you get on a plane, an 11-and-a-half-hour plane ride from Israel back, I'm wide awake. No one else in the back of the airplane is awake, but I am wide awake. And so I was sitting and staring at that little moving map. You know, that one, right? You're here. And I watched as we flew over Poland. And I pictured us from the outside of the plane. A Boeing 747 with an 8-foot-tall Jewish star on the tail, and a Hebrew on the outside of the plane, flying over Poland, where millions of our people died. And with all of Israel's Mishigas, this Jewish star on a flag that was created to look like a talit, which is flying now at this moment. And I think of 2,000 years of our people who prayed they would see it and never imagined they could. And we can, and we do. And I'm grateful that God spreads a shelter of peace much of the time over Jerusalem. That's in my list. On 162, another reading that we always sing, which means we never translate. So we're going to read it, top of 162. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Time to take a breath. A day off. By the way, the first invention the Jews gave to the world. Before anything else, we gave the concept that every human being and every animal deserves a day off. Thank you, God. We turn now to the Amidah, starting on 164 in the even number pages, and I'm going to sing the Hebrew of the blessings, and you're certainly welcome to sing along, but if you don't know what the prayers mean, because we always do them in Hebrew, please don't even worry about singing along with me. Read them in English as we go, because they're thank you after thank you after thank you. If you're able, please rise, and if you rise, say thank you for being able to do that. Adonai sefatai tiftach
ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevi gula livnei v'nehem, l'ma'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atarav lahoshia, mashiv haruach omorid hagashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, micha mocha ba'al gevorot, umido melach, melech meimit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'emanata l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'gedoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. 173. Please be seated.
Now this is not on the surface a prayer of thanks. But I'd like you to think of this community, because that's what I do. Think of how much of this our community does. Maybe it's something to be grateful for. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, shodcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avot. 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. So before you turn the page, someone else was playing the same 100 blessings game here. Look how many you just got from reading that one. The gift of life, wonder, soul, light, beauty, the world, the earth which sustains us. Wow. Almost got another 10 right there. $179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. And so now the silent prayer, where usually I just say, think about whatever you want. Today I'm asking not to do that. Today I'm going to ask you to think about blessings. What didn't the rabbis cover in this service? What did they leave out? What is good in your life? What is really good? What's just a little good? How was dinner? Is it okay? The basic level, did it nourish you enough that you can go on? Was it good? Like tasty? Nice? Did you leave with a sense of being sated, not being hungry anymore? Whatever it is. Add to your list. You're heading for 100. Take the time and think about blessings. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי, לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Page 371. In a moment, we'll sing our prayer for healing. In a moment, I'll ask you to say the names of the people you're praying for. But just before we do, please take a minute to think about a time when you healed from illness. Anytime. You know, is anything all right? We're big on kvetching. As people say, when two Jews get together, you have an organ recital. My kidney is hurting, my liver is a thing, my whatever, you know, we do the whole thing. But think of a time that you were sick. Think of a time you were injured. Think of a time you had surgery. And you recovered from it. Because we always ask, what's a prayer for healing for? I would think it would be fair to say that each of us has known healing. Something to be grateful for. So now if you would like to add the names of people whom you're praying for, that they will know the blessing of healing. As I look around, as I look at you, please say their names aloud. 371 in the middle of the page.
Misheberach Avotenu Mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So Bert and Phyllis, what made you get married in January? Oh, you were in college at the time? January 31st was between semesters? Wow. Because we don't have a lot of January. Anyone, any other January anniversaries here? Yeah, no. I'm trying to remember if I've ever done a January wedding. I don't think so. So weather cooperated? Nice. That's wonderful. So since we have no other anniversaries, I'm going to ask the two of you, would you come join me up on the bima? And would everyone else please rise? If it's easier to walk around, there's a ramp. You want the ramp? No? No? Okay. Nicely done. Come stay right in the middle here. Oh, it's nice that you're holding on to each other. Sometimes I have to remind people. Well, it's even nicer then. Okay. It beats not, so it's all good. 60 years.
Yep. Today.
I know. That is
Milestone.
really, really wonderful. It is. So why don't you two, while we're doing this, why don't you think back to your wedding day?
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
My father was a happy person.
Really?
Oh, yes.
He liked you?
Yeah,
Yes.
we got one.
That's okay. My in-laws were like still shaky on that one at the time, so it took a little while. So,
No, we had a good relationship.
nice. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors. Bless this couple as they look back on the day of their marriage and forward to the years ahead. Many and varied have been their experiences together, but in happiness and in sorrow alike, you, O God, have been with them. Dear God, let your spirit continue to glow within this couple, that each partner may see your image in the other. Let their way of life be loving and good, that they may help to bear each other's burdens as they share each other's joys. May these, your children, continue to know the blessing of a home that honors the house of Israel, a peaceful home where happiness, contentment, and love thrive. May they grow old together in health, and may they live in gratitude to you and to each other for their marriage. Join me in Shehachianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Please repeat this after me. We praise you.
We praise you.
Adonai our God,
Adonai our God,
source of all creation,
source of all creation,
for creating us
for creating us
and sustaining us,
and sustaining us,
and for bringing us to this time of celebration.
and bringing us to this time of celebration.
Amen va'amen. Mazel tov. Could everyone say mazel tov? Seriously. Boy, are you awesome role models. You know what? That Cain Yerbu is may it continue for a long time, but it also means may we have lots of couples that celebrate 60 years together, because that's awesome. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Mazel tov. There, I'll hold you up for a minute. They were good?
Yeah.
And hold on a second. Are you allowed to have sugar?
No.
No, okay. So I'm sorry, then I won't offer you Hershey Kisses, but
Thank you.
Mazel Tov. Yeah, no, that's why I asked. Please remain standing. We'll continue in the middle of page 586. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Now we always do that in Hebrew and never do it in English, but today we need to do it in English. Let us now praise the sovereign of the universe and proclaim the greatness of the Creator, who has set us apart from the other families of the earth, giving us a destiny unique among the nations. We bend the knee and bow, acknowledging the supreme sovereign, the Holy One of blessing. $591. Please be seated. You're fetching? Is that what's going on? Oh, you shouldn't know. There you go. That's Jewish. Are things good? Oh, you shouldn't know. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushemo echad. Next Friday evening is Rak Shabbat, and it is also Shabbat Shira, the Shabbat when we reach the point in the Torah where we sing the Song of Freedom, the song that includes Micha Mocha. Our guest artist next week is Max Kassler, a young man who's been here several times before. He's really wonderful. We also have Kolot Yafim, our adult choir, singing, and I hope that you'll come and join everybody. I will not be here. I think it's the second Rak Shabbat I've ever missed since we started it. I will be for the 31st time in Washington at the Religious Action Center with our 10th graders. And I will tell you that in my list of things that I'm grateful for,
I'm grateful for the hundreds of students whom I've been able to bring to see what social justice means to Reform Jews. That it's not just food drives and things like that, but it's going into the seats of power and saying what we believe and turning our beliefs into action. If you walk down the hall and see the confirmation pictures, every student in every one of those pictures since 1989 has been at the rack. And it's my last time that I'll be doing this. It is weird because I've done it more than any rabbi anywhere. TRT has been doing it longer than almost any congregation, second longest of any congregation in the country. Temple Shalom in Aberdeen, it's the only one doing it longer. We started when we joined with them. And I get to watch teenagers figure out that they actually have power. And one of my blessings always is on Monday afternoon, because on Monday they take what they've learned, they figure out what they believe, they articulate it, and we go into Congress. We go to our Congress people's offices, and these students will lobby on behalf of what they believe in. And it's not a simulation. It's not a pretend. We will go into one of our senators, depends on which one we get this year, and we will go into Representative Pallon's offices, and the kids get up Monday morning, and they get dressed in suits and dresses, and they are terrified. I mean, massively terrified. And my image is always what they look like when they walk out of the offices when they're done. If you've never seen people walk without touching the ground, they actually do. They walk 6 inches off the ground as they go, look what we did. And we always go back, to get back on the bus, you have to walk down Capitol Hill, and they stand right at the bottom of the hill, and I tell them, look around, turn around, look at the Capitol. You did that, and you can do it going on. And I was talking with one of our former students who is now in politics, and said it is 100% attributable to 4 extraordinary days in Washington, D.C. when he was in 10th grade. So I won't be here for next week's Rosh Shabbat. I hope you will. It should be a beautiful service, and I will send my love to all of you from D.C., where I and 450 of my closest teenage friends will be celebrating Shabbat together. So they're not all ours, but I mean, they're all ours, but TRT. I don't think there are any other announcements. Not that I know of. So we turn now to Kaddish on 598. And again, as I said before, just before I do we have people who are going to be saying Kaddish for someone in particular tonight? We do, several. Okay. Those of you that raised your hands, take the person whom you're remembering. And think of something you want to say thank you for. And what I like to recommend to people is that you don't go with big general ideas like, oh, they're a wonderful person. That's neat, but doesn't mean anything. Take something that you shared with them, an experience, a time, whatever. Take that and think of that. Think of something that's worth remembering, that's worth saying thank you for. Because Kaddish itself, I've said many times, never talks about death. There is not a word about death in this entire prayer. This is a praise poem. You know that whole section that goes, Yitgadal v'yitkadar, what is Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitram. Those are all, you're praised and glorified and magnified, and it's just, the poet just said, give me every thank you word I can think of to say to God for this life that God created. And for those of you who are not here to say Kaddish for someone in particular, pick someone who's died and do the same thing. Just think of something. It can be big, it can be tiny, but something that makes you say thank you. So if you are here to say Kaddish for Shiva, for someone who died during the past week, please rise and say their names aloud. If If you're here to say Kaddish for Shloshim, someone who died during the past 30 days, please rise and say their names. And if you were here to say Kaddish for Yartzeit or for any other reason, please rise, and as I look at you, say their names aloud. Hamakom Yenachem Etchem Im Sha'ar Avlei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God console you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Please rise. You don't have to stand. Rabbis talked about that. It's cool. Okay. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ba'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel and to all the world, to which we say amen. Now we turn back to Kiddush 122 and 123. And once again, I'm going to do heresy. We're going to do it in English. Because Kiddush is not just thank you for Shabbat, but as you'll see, it is lots of thank yous. We'll start with Bori Pri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei Pri Hagafen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who, finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. A first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from all the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. And challah representing all of food. Everything about food. Everything good about food. Because challah is rich bread. Doesn't mean the people are rich. It means it's made rich. To remind us that we are blessed with food to eat. Most of us are blessed with good food to eat. And that's really worth saying thank you for. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. I will recommend that you each have a little challah afterwards. And also, since it's a small group, I invite you to take some of the challah home. Really, we will give you plastic bags. Don't say, oh, I couldn't do that. You could do that. Here it's going to go to waste to be a shanda. So take it home. You'll have French toast tomorrow morning. It's all good. You're really, really welcome to. Okay? So I want to end with Ein Keloheinu. And not just because we know it and it's cool and it's easy to sing along, but because it says something really neat. It says there's none like our God. Over and over. And because it's my favorite version, page 631. Anyone here take Spanish when they were in school? 1, 2. If you did, you'll recognize this because we Jews do not only come from Poland, we also come from Spain, and we Jews had a language. Just like Yiddish was a combination of Hebrew and German, Ladino is a combination of Hebrew and Spanish. And we have a very, very rich Spanish Ladino tradition, and this is a melody that I adore. I challenge you to get it out of your heads the rest of the night. You won't be able to. It becomes an earworm. And as I said, your old Spanish will kick in. So, 631, and I hope you will join in. Ein keloheinu, ein kadonenu, ein kemalkeinu, ein kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Malkeinu, mi Moshienu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, lo oremos a nuestro Dios, lo oremos a nuestro Señor, lo oremos a nuestro Rey, lo oremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador. Thank you for going on this little blessing trip tonight with me. I appreciate it. I'd like to suggest that wherever you're going home to tonight, that you go into your house and look for blessings. Look for things to say thank you for. In each room. What is there as you walk into the house that's good, that's worth saying thank you for? What is special about the kitchen, living room, the bedroom? There is so much to be grateful for. And yet we go through life blind. So in the Hasidic tradition, I wish you not just a Shabbat Shalom. I wish you a Shabbat filled with blessings.